Hi folks, hope you're doing well. It's 10 to 5 on the 7th of July 2020. There's a few subjects in this one. Okay. The first subject is we deal with the issue of attractiveness. And we deal with what should be considered as being attractive, at least to a certain degree. The reason why I'm talking about this subject is because guarantee you go on YouTube, you look at the people that do reactions, the people that do talk about scammers, the people that do other things where they appear on video themselves. Right? 9 out of 10 of these people are super attractive. Super attractive. They can be talented as well. But super attractive is one of the most important factors because the whole point is you want somebody to watch what you're doing. So that is a common theme. That's what you're going to find. Same in TV programs. TV programs, movies, that sort of stuff. What you're going to find is the ultra attractive people. They're going to be there. Even when someone is playing a character of someone who's not that good looking, generally speaking, they will make someone good looking worse looking for that character. And you can see why. They're not going to want to bring someone in, oh, you're just about ugly enough for this character. That's not going to go too well, is it, really? So, no, they don't do that. That's why in a relationship with somebody, you've got to look far beyond that. And it's also why if you mention to your wife, or if she mentions to her husband that this or that person is attractive, that generally means nothing now. Nothing at all. Because if you watch TV, if you watch movies, if you watch YouTube videos, you are absolutely bombarded with people that are attractive. Bombarded with it. Yeah, it's not like it was in the, say 20s, 30s. You had to go out into the social areas because you had radio, right? That's it. So you occasionally saw someone that was beautiful or handsome. Occasionally saw someone who was at the upper levels of that. Now it's constant. Absolutely constant. So your husband or wife needs to understand it. Yeah, be honest with each other. You find someone attractive, just say it doesn't matter. That whole thing, whether it's TV program, movie, or video on YouTube, is designed for you to find that person or those people attractive. That's it's done its job. There you go. Yeah, that person is attractive. So what now? That's the point. So what? Attractive now, it's like, okay. Yeah, so what? It's like they said years ago. They made a point saying if everyone was naked, yeah, would you even be interested? Yeah, you wouldn't in the end because you're not. Oh yeah, okay. Another set of breasts, okay. Another bum, another penis, another vagina, okay. And you're used to seeing it. If you're used to seeing it, it doesn't matter anymore, does it really? So that's why you have to go on things like personality now for a relationship, because attractiveness, generally speaking, when you're being bombarded by the most beautiful people, chances are you're not going to be with someone who, attractiveness wise, is going to be an absolute 10 compared to the people you see on a daily basis on YouTube, TV, and movies. Chances are that's not going to happen, right? But that's cool. It doesn't matter. People are looking after themselves far better, generally speaking, than ever before. So people are better looking now, generally speaking, than ever before, because they're looking after themselves a lot more. So you focus on things like, their nature, who they are as a person, how they react to things. All of that then becomes the most attractive thing. Like for me, when that person worships God, how are they doing it? When they meet people, what they're like, what's their expression? What's their nature in that way? Are they a server or are they someone who wants to be served? These are all the things that matter now. Far more important. Far more important. So that was subject one. Because I just understood that. I thought, right, okay, share that. It's a good point to share it. Because it is a very true point nowadays. Second point is the Rona. It's now over 500,000 deaths worldwide. They had one thing, I looked up a celebrity and someone that they elected with, a 41-year-old actor, and someone who appeared on Broadway had died, had been suffering the effects of COVID-19 for a long period of time. They'd even amputated his leg, thinking that would help. Clearly his body just wasn't able to take anymore. 41 years of age. The photo of the man, there was no grey hair at all in his beard or in his hair and his head. And he leaves a wife and a one-year-old son. Terrible. That's the thing with the over 500,000 deaths. There's a lot of people who've been suffering. There's a lot of families that have been absolutely and totally torn apart. And that's forgetting the families of the people who have just about recovered. I mean, so there's probably at least 1,000 or so, 10,000 of those at least. And those families went through a lot. And will there be a second wave? We don't know. We just don't know. There's a lot of people that fear a second wave, and to me, I think if there is a second wave, I've said this before, if there is a second wave, I think it's unlikely that there'll be a lockdown happening again quickly. I think people will be highly resistant to that. I think that is the reality of the situation. After being locked down for pretty much 4 months now, once things open up again, people won't want to see that lockdown again. Because we've seen all this protesting all over, and I think an awful lot of that, an awful lot of the frustrations, we've seen the police come under attack in a lot of areas, and I think that's frustration from being locked down for 4 months. So I don't think that people are going to be willingly going to be locked up again. Or, because it is, but the lockdown is similar to being locked up. If you're used to going to work, it's like you've been put in prison. Your freedoms have been taken away. It is exactly like that, because you're not free to do what you would normally do. So, yeah, that situation. And with regards to that 41-year-old man who died, it's just a constant reminder that even though they did everything they did to save him, it's possible that he had a day designated where he was going to die on that day. That's what a lot of Christians believe, that there was a designated time that your time is up. You have a certain amount of days, and that's it. So I think there's been a lot of videos recently over the last month, really, certainly since Rona, but over the last month, really, where it's been talking about, life is short. Why are we wasting time in conflict with people? Why are we wasting time with stupidity? Life is very short. We don't know how many days we have left. Why do we want to spend days in that sort of situation with people? That's what I was saying the other day. If you're in a sort of relationship with someone, whether that's a relationship or a friendship or anything like that, and that relationship is more negative than it is positive, then walk away. Walk away. If that relationship is meant to live, it will live. If it's meant to die, stop trying to resurrect it. I mean, there are people who are constantly trying to keep a relationship alive that really is dead. And has been dead for a long time. Stop wasting your days on something that's dead. So yeah, that's basically the message for today. If you have an allotted day, allotted time that you're supposed to pass, if you knew how many days you'd have left, would you live your life differently? Would you do things different? If you would, then do them differently. You don't know whether you have 2 days, 20 days, 200 days, 2,000 days, 20 years, or another 60, 70 years. You ain't got a clue. It's within that range, isn't it, really? Well, let's be more accurate. It's within 1 second, and for most people, 70, 80 years. It's within that period, but we don't know exactly when. And for a lot of people, it would be a shorter time rather than that longer time. And if you've got that longer time, if you have that longer time, if you have 80 years, how many of those years do you want to waste on relationships that are dead? Or on arguments with people, and fights with people, and confrontations with people, and all that rubbish? How many of those years do you want to waste on stuff like that? Those are the questions you need to ask yourself. Because at the end of your life, it's all going to be pictured out in front of you on your day of judgment, and you're going to see what you did with the life you had. And most of us are going to be incredibly disappointed. When we see what we did, we're going to be immensely disappointed with what we're faced with on that day of judgment, what we did with the life we had. Yet you may get to live 80 years, which means you've been blessed so much more than someone who may have got to live 10 years, 20 years. But you've had 80 years, 60 years longer than that person who's lived 20 years. You should have achieved so much more than them. Not in the sense of money, in the sense of love. What have you achieved in the sense of love? Actual love. Not the BS version where you lie to each other and you say, aren't you wonderful, even though they're not. Yeah, you're a people pleaser. People pleasing is not love. Saying what people want to hear, therefore they like you because you said what they want to hear. That's not love. Love is being honest and true and people loving you despite you. That's love. People loving you despite the worst of you, not because of the best, but despite the worst. That's love. What have you achieved with regards to love? That's what God's going to be looking at. Because all the point of serving God is about love. It's about loving God, it's about loving people. You sacrifice yourself to a certain degree when you serve God, and you're doing that because of love. God doesn't look at how much money you've earned. God doesn't look at how much property you have. Doesn't care. The whole earth belongs to God, so why is he going to be impressed that you may own 5 or 6 houses? You don't actually own those houses. God still owns them because he owns the earth that those houses are on. He's not impressed at all. But when you sow love and you reap love, that's what God is interested in. When you showed love to someone who was seen as unlovable, that's like to the world where you have $1 billion. That's to God the same as it is to the world if you haven't $1 billion. You showing love to someone who is seen as unlovable, that goes into your account. So as I say, most of us will look at that and we'll say, I'm sorry, Lord, I failed. I didn't do anywhere near as well as I could have done in life. That's it, isn't it? In the end, and that's the thing also about the first point, attractiveness. Someone who is really, really loving. Someone who is incredibly loving. Loving of others. Someone who loves you immensely. He's not going to ask things of you that are unreasonable. Not going to ask you to do something that would be difficult for you to do or could put you in a situation that's bad. They will just love you and you will be the world to them. Or at least they would treat you that way. That's attractiveness. When the world around us shows us an attractiveness that is nothing, really. Anyone who is born with that facial attractiveness, even that body attractiveness, generally speaking, they have done nothing or a minimum amount. Say they get fit, they get ripped, and you find that to be attractive. Well, okay, they've worked, they put the effort in to do that, yes. But their facial features, they may even have plastic surgery to make them better. But if that's the case, then it wasn't them who did it. It was a plastic surgeon who did it, because most people that get plastic surgery look terrible afterwards. They don't look very good in any way, shape, or form. So that person would have had an incredible plastic surgeon. Well, that's saying more about the plastic surgeon than about the person. So you're really noticing something that God has done. That person was born with that incredible beauty, but that's God's work, not theirs. Nothing to do with their parents, because it come from their parents' DNA, but all DNA come from God. So therefore, the credit for someone's beauty, outward beauty, comes from God. He made that person. But the inner, well, you do have to work at that. You do have to sacrifice. To be that love in a person, you have to make effort, you have to sacrifice. So that says more about the person. Anyway, I'm going to end it there. I'm just going to waffle. I'm just going to probably tie myself in knots, and better to end it there. You take care, God bless, and I will speak to you soon. Bye bye.